Welcome to We're Talking Bears,
where we bring you the latest in the Chicago Bears experience.
I'm Uncle,
nephew,
and I'm Son.
And we're talking Bears. We're talking Bears with me and Aunt today, recapping the Week 8 Bears versus Chargers. Suffered another bitter defeat. Bitter defeat. So we're going to get into the recaps of that game and the latest things with the Chicago Bears. Remember to like and subscribe and tell your friends about us. We're trying to get our page and our subscriber numbers up. So show us some love and check us out on We're Talking Bears. What's going on, Aunt?
Pain, man, pain. This is, I'm tired of stinking it up. I'm tired of the issues. A lot has happened. It's not what it should be. It's bad. The bright lights. I've listened to a polls news conference, and one of the things he said is that our team doesn't quit. And that's that honors the coach. They don't give up. They give up a lot of points, but they don't give up on the game.
Right. But I mean, let's be real. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that. I don't like that when your team is thinking it up to say something like they don't quit. That's a very constellation, I feel like, attitude. That's a moral victory. And that's what we should tell to children so that they have good sportsmanship. These guys are paid millions of dollars to play this game. If they quit, they don't get paid. So that sentiment is missed on me. They better not quit. You get what I'm saying? Because there's many people who would love to replace them for the money that they make to do a job. You get what I'm saying? And it's an amazing job to have, but you get to play a game that we all love and then you get paid for it. So they better not quit. That's one. Two, I think they need to transition that focus a little bit. While I do think it's commendable to have good sportsmanship and a good attitude, you are a part of the team where that should be the expectation. Your job is to win football games, not to talk about how your guys are good sportsmanship. That's good sportsman. That should be the least of what you need to play on this level, I feel like, personally. I want to talk about why we're not winning. That's all I want to hear. Flus, Foles, and Getsy, that's all I want to hear them talking about. If we're not talking solutions, if we're not talking plans of changing the feeling of this season and the energy that we have on our football team, I'm not caring for it. And I can respect these guys and we can shake hands amicably as we let you go for your good sportsmanship. But that's not a reason to keep you around, that you don't quit. Sometimes we may need to quit. Quit this partnership that we have with each other. Quit the contract that we have with each other. Quit pretending like it's working. Sometimes it's good to quit. I went on a tangent, but
I love your tangent, man. I love your tangent.
I don't appreciate that from losers. When you're winning, I can accept that, but when you're losing, the focus should be figuring out what's not working.
Yeah, because something isn't working. I appreciate that. Hey, I remember when you were, I think, 8th grade, man, and I was like, you were upset about losing. And we were talking, and you're like, "Am I supposed to like losing? What do you mean, good sportsmanship?"
Right? Sounds like me. Look, sounds like me.
It was.
It sounds like it.
Oh man,
and I get it because you should have a good attitude, and that you learn to appreciate that as you get older versus when I was maybe younger. But that's how I've always approached that we're competing. So the goal was to win when we came in, and it's not like, hey, as things start to go downhill, or as the game or the season starts to flush down the toilet, we don't revert back to just saying, hey, well, let's try to look at the positive things. I mean, sheesh. We practice all the time. You get what I'm saying? Where I'm around my teammates all the time. There should be an explanation for this.
There should be.
That's what I want to talk about.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you so much. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? It's nasty. We're losing. First of all, we're losing games we shouldn't lose, and there's that's half the problem, right? Win the games that you want. I feel like, good news. Here's the good news. So the NFL is upside down, right? There's all kinds of stuff happening, all kinds of stuff going on, and you sit back and you're like, the Broncos end up holding Kansas City to 9 points. Okay, with the Matt Nagy coached offense, right? But they end up holding Kansas City. The Vikings turn around and they spank the 49ers, who were supposed to be like best team in football for a minute. Okay, So, when you put those together, maybe our losses aren't as bad as they feel, right? But at the same time, you have to sit back and go, both of those games were very, very winnable. Literally, we won the Broncos game. We gave it away. You kick the field goal, you keep the pressure on the other team, and you make them lose. You don't volunteer. You don't march all the way down with 2 minutes left and be inside scoring range with the go-ahead field goal with the best kicker in football sitting on the bench and leave him. You kick the field goal and you tell your defense you put the pressure on the other team, because now if they want to win, they have to get to the goal line, not to the field goal range, because
Right.
now field goal range is just another tie.
Right.
Right? Put the pressure on that team. So that's a giveaway by the coaches. That's only the coaches. But you look at the Vikings game. Vikings game, more of a team loss, but still, just we're giving away. We're doing giveaways, and you can't give away close games. Good teams don't lose close games because they didn't do what it took to win. If you beat a good team, you beat them, right? Bad teams do what we do. Like literally, you're winning, and you go untie your cleats and hope you don't fall down. It's so I'm with you. I'm with you. Those type of mistakes have to end, and if they don't end, then you're being paid millions of dollars. Like, we don't earn the type of money they earn, and if we make the type of mistakes they're making, we're probably fired.
Right. Right.
That's just the truth. It's like you can't keep screwing up and keep your job at a regular salary. So
Right.
why are these guys keeping their jobs at millions of dollars while they're still screwing up? And they're grown
A
men and they
million
have
dollar
families.
question.
And yeah, I'm not asking for anybody to fire, but I'm also not asking, for hey, if we buying tickets and spending time for us to do that in vain, and anybody
Right.
else to do it in vain. So absolutely, I'm with you. I stand with you. It has to change, and it has to change now. And and I would say, even from Paul's standpoint, when you trade a number 2 for Montez Sweat, what are you thinking about that?
You said, what are you thinking?
Well, what do you think about the trade for Montez Sweat?
Oh, I like it. I like it. I mean, we know we got to get pressure on the defensive side. We got to challenge teams. The defense has been looking pretty good, as we highlighted the last few weeks here on We're Talking Bears. The defense has been looking good, but we've been talking about some of the upfront additions that we need, as far as getting more pressure on the quarterback, on the opposite team, and also as far as our offensive line. Those have still been some areas of need for us. So I'm happy about it. I hope it pans out. Hope it pans out for us. I like what I do like. I'll say this. I like that Poles continues to build. He continues to make moves. You said it previously. If you, as a man, if you can make a mistake and own your mistakes, cool. But I don't see him being stagnant. I do see him making changes and bringing people in, and I'm okay with that. I think Sweat will be a good addition to us. As far as an upgrade to what we have going on, he shouldn't hurt us as far as our run defense is concerned, and he should give us a little more in the pass defense. So I like it, but again, I don't want to be overly optimistic, because we know as Bears fans, we know how that can be when we've suffered for many seasons now, trying to get somewhere. So I'm hoping this is also another move into the right direction. The second pick, we're looking. We still have a lot of draft opportunity coming up, so it's nice to know we still have our 2 first-round picks. So if this ends up being a great addition for us, I don't think that second-round pick hurts us, because we have 2 first-round picks next year. And not to get all off base, but I like it. Overall, I like it. I can't wait to see how he gels with the guys, and seeing how this can improve our team.
Well, also he's very good against the run. He's 6'6", really long arms, 262 pounds. So he is a big defensive end, big, physically big, strong, and weighty for a defensive end, which is good. He's still got some explosive speed. Numerically, he's kicking tail. He's got 8 sacks already, he's almost got more sacks than our whole team.
Right.
He's got 2 forced fumbles. He's tied for 7th in the league in sacks with 2 forced fumbles. He's tied for 3rd in the league for forced fumbles. And, you know, that's among his position, right? And so that you know, instantly he's our best defensive lineman. He's very good against the run, which means our top ranked run defense shouldn't suffer because he's out there. So he's not just a pure speed guy where you're
Right.
going to lose something against the run. He's tough. So he may. We're great against the run. We may even be even better against the run. That's not helping us win though, because like literally the Chargers said, you know, they only ran for 50 yards and they won, and the Vikings ran for what, around 50 yards and they beat us. So I'm not saying it's helping. We did win 2 other games where we kept teams to low. We're 2 out of 4 in the past 4 games, and all 4 of them we kept the run down, and I think that did help us win the 2. But it's not. It can't be the only part of the recipe.
Right.
Right. You know, great run defense. So therefore you don't win every game.
Right.
You've got to have pass defense. You've got to be able to get to the quarterback. So does he improve our team? Absolutely. You know, hopefully we get more pressure on the quarterback based on him being there. And if he allows Yannick to get a little more free and get up to where Yannick belongs, then that's good. If that gives us 2 dominant defensive ends, then that's good. And these other guys, they're just going to have to keep working and keep learning and get better. And if they don't get a lot better, then we'll just have to get somebody else, you know, to back them up. And we got a lot of young guys. So, you know, this could take time. But this guy, he's 27. He's in his prime. He was a 1st-round draft pick. And, you know, we got to pay him, though. He's going to get paid. And edge rushers make money. And so Poles has to pay this guy, because if you give a second for him and he walks because you don't pay him, that's not any good.
A waste. Yeah,
it's a waste. And then you got Jaylon Johnson out here looking for a big contract and deserving it. He's the best cornerback in the NFL. He's the best cornerback in the NFL on a bad team. He's not being bolstered by the fact that the guys around him are phenomenal.
Right.
He's just the guy you don't want to throw the ball against because A, you won't get it in there, and B, he might take it from you. So, you know, when you look at that, he's got to get paid. We got the money to pay these guys, but you got to pay them. You can't, you can't over negotiate. You can't negotiate yourself out the deal. When you look at Sweat, this year, I got one stat that says he's got 8 stacks and another stat that says he's got 6.5. Either one is more than anybody on our team. When you look back at his seasons, when you look back at his seasons, if you look back, he was drafted in 2019. He is a 6th-rounder. I mean, a 1st-rounder. My bad. I said 6th-rounder in 2019. 7 sacks in 2019, 9 sacks in 2020, 5 sacks in 2021, but he only played 10 games. That was his only season where he didn't play all the games. So he's been healthy, very healthy. 8 sacks in 2022, and I see him at 6.5 this year in 2023. So nonetheless, that's it looks like he's going to have his best year. But you got to get it on our team. And if guys can't cover, it makes it really hard to get a sack because the ball's coming out and it's going to be a completion is what it's going to be. So, you know, you have to be a rocket ship to get in there if you can't cover. So he's got 35.5 sacks over his career, which is that's a good number. We've got defensive ends that can now 2 of them that can sack you. So we need to get after the quarterback. That's going to make a difference. Our run defense is solid. It doesn't need to change. Our coverage needs to get a lot better because we're giving up way too much. If you drill in on this Chargers game, you know, what's your thoughts about this Charger game?
You know, we never like to lose. But what I can say is like Bagent's 2nd game starting. I don't want to sound bad. I didn't have extremely high expectations for him to just come out there and kill the Chargers. So I figured it would be a struggle. was hoping we would be able to come out and pull it out, but we got the backup playing. And I don't know, man. With the struggles we've had, it's just hard to expect it with a bad old line, the backup QB that has less intangible skills or less of the kind of on the fly skills that Justin Fields has is going to be able to be successful against the likes of Mac and those guys on the Chargers. So it's frustrating, but I don't know, man. We got to just keep plugging away. I don't want Bagent to lose his steam anyway. He's going to probably have to come out here and play against the Saints. I would have liked to see us be. I mean, we ran the ball. I don't mind just overly running the football sometimes. I just don't know, man. I know Bagent had the 2 picks. I guess all I can really say is that I didn't have high expectations, knowing we weren't gonna have our QB1 in the game. So I don't want to get down on Bagent. I like him.
Yeah, well, I feel like, Roshan had his first game back, and he didn't look so great.
Right.
I don't know whether he was running tentatively because he knocked himself out, basically, or what. Donta was about he was doing okay, but we didn't give any of those guys a decent amount of carries.
Right.
Donta had the most at 9. Look, come on. Cole Kmet had 10 catches, but looked like pretty much every catch was a hitch. Very, very. I mean, it was just uninspired play call. We open the game with this beautiful bomb to Mooney. You get this mystery whistle from across the field. And admittedly, Mooney didn't make it look like he was. Mooney made it look like he was down because he didn't get up and take off for the end zone. He jogged and looked back. But what has that got to do with it? Let the referee who's standing right next to him make the call. What is some guy on the other side of the field? Again, is he getting paid by Vegas to blow that whistle? What's going on? There should have been 7.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Then you get Velus Jones. Oh my God. I understand it wasn't an easy catch. I understand you had to slide and lean on your back. But man, when the ball hits you in your stomach and your 2 hands, you're getting paid millions of dollars. You got to catch the ball.
Right.
I mean, that's the difference. Those 2 touchdowns, boom, that's 27-30.
Right.
All we need is a field goal. So 1 touchdown the refs took away. The other touchdown, Velus gives away. And, there we are. But at the same time, and that neither of those are Bagent's fault. But then Bagent did throw 2 picks. But is he throwing picks because they don't have to cover deep? Because they're like, you're either going to drop the ball or the ref's going to help us, or let's just be honest, you're not going to throw it deep.
Right.
Mooney does that. We don't go back to the same route. We don't go back to the same play. Next time he's double covered, just single covered on that wing, just let it fly again, right? Or pump to Mooney and throw it to pump to Mooney, turn and throw it to DJ Moore. Send them both streaking down the sidelines.
Right.
And I mean, come on, do something. 10 hitches. I know they weren't all hitches, but these are short passes to Kmet. 10 short passes to Kmet, great. You used them, you got him a lot of receptions, but you didn't do anything to win with them.
Right.
DJ Moore, you got 4 passes to him, 4 completions to DJ. You didn't do much. And I don't know how, after Darnell started the game that way, you don't end up with a second catch. Tyreek Stevenson made a ton of tackles, but the problem is that's because he was getting burned. He had 10 tackles, 2 assists, but he was getting burnt, smoked and set on fire. That's a problem. I don't know how we handle that. Man, again, the run defense, phenomenal. The run defense, when you stop and you look, Austin Eckler, he was held to 30 yards on 15 carries. They tried to run the ball.
Yeah.
They gave their guy 15 shots at running the ball. He was stopped by us. Josh Kelly, 21 yards on 6 carries. Isaiah Spiller, 1 yard on 3 carries. and Justin Herbert 1 yard on 1 carry. But we let Herbert cut us to pieces, 31 of 40, 298 and 3 touchdowns.
All right.
You know, you can't let this guy just torch you. He torched us. He torched us in the air and threw 3 touchdowns because they couldn't run it on us.
Right.
It's good that they can't run on us, but dang, nabbit, you got to do something. There's a stat that I looked up. Last year, I was kind of comparing last year Fields versus this year Bagent. And last year when Fields threw under 200 yards, he had a decent amount of TDs and put the offense in a good position to do what they had to do. We haven't had a defense in a while. This year, Bagent, he had one game in the 60s and the second game in the 230s. In the 230s, he doesn't get touchdowns, but he gets 2 picks. Guess what? Last year, Fields had 2 games over 200. But once the one of them was 210. It's a pretty decent game. But the one where he threw for 250 against the Packers, dude, flat out 2 picks, no touchdowns. It's something about Getsy's boring offense that the more you throw it, the worse things get. And I think it's his route choices, his combination of routes, where you're just taking you're doing the same thing so often, like that 3 screen concept in a row. You're doing the same thing so often, you're setting your quarterback up to get picked.
All right.
That's what I feel. That's how I see this is folding out. It's just not, when you look at the stats, it's the turnovers. Total yards, we were 295, they were 352. Passing yards, they're 298, we're 222. Should have been even because Mooney should have counted. Rushing yards, we had 73, they had 54. We limited ourselves because we wouldn't run the ball as much. All the stats are similar except for the picks and the touchdowns. And when you look at those picks and those touchdowns, it's just painful. It's painful. I agree with you. Something's got to change. We can't keep doing this. The defense wasn't right this week. Eberflus's defense gave up way too much. Way too much. Too many yards. Too many scores.
I got a question for you. I know, the GM's front office make the moves for the players, such as the MONTEZ Sweat being brought over. But being that this is someone that we recently played with the Commanders, what do you think about this? And this is kind of a not tricky question, but just really kind of want to get your opinion. What do you think is the insight that players have over moves like that? Or what do you think is, how much I'm gonna ask this, do you think there's any input from the players on the team? Because in my opinion, if we all play this game on a professional level, we play against each other with peers, you get what I'm saying, et cetera, in the league, and you bring over a guy who we're all familiar with, and we even just played against them, right? In my mind, you couldn't possibly bring over somebody who isn't going to make a difference on our team, right? And it's almost like, hey, that's a good guy to go get because he was just killing us. Or you know what I'm saying? It's like, I wonder is there any of that? Like, is there?
I would assume I really respect what I've seen of Darnell Wright. And Darnell Wright got his lunch eaten by MONTEZ Sweat. MONTEZ made Darnell look like a rookie.
Right.
And got to Fields. And I think Darnell having to practice against MONTEZ and having to line up against him and learning, what a premier edge rusher is going to do to you is going to be great for the team. So I think from an offensive line standpoint, I think Darnell Wright loves it. If I'm on that edge list on the defense, I'm going to be a little offended, but I should be, right? Because I'm in getting my job done.
Right.
So now you brought in somebody that's above me, right?
To get the job done.
Then on top of that, if I'm looking at these other positions, if I'm Jaylon Johnson, maybe I'm a little happier. It's like, all right, because the more pressure you cause, the better my stats are going to be, the better my statement is that I am the best corner in the NFL.
Right.
You know, because if I can do this when you can't get to the quarterback, where when you're one of the lowest at sacking the quarterback, what am I going to look like if Sweat is dominating and causing not just himself to get sacks, but causing other people on that line to get sacks? If we go from being a team that only has in the year 10 sacks, the lowest in the NFL as a team, and let's say in the second half, because we're 8 games in, let's say in the second half, if we've got 20 sacks in the second half, which would put us, middle of the pack, not overall, but for the second half, that's that much more pressure just makes our defensive back look better. Because
Right.
not just the fact that you got home 10 more times, but you had to be getting close probably 30 more times to get home 10 more times.
Right.
So but it's a synergy, because if you can't cover, it doesn't matter how fast you can get to the quarterback. He's just going to let the ball fly.
Right.
So I think it depends on what your job is. If you're on that D line, you need to be concerned about your job, because they just brought in a guy that they're going to have to pay to even make this reasonable. I gave a second round up. I could get a top edge rusher in the second round.
Right.
Early in the second round. We if we continue to play the way we're playing, we'll have a top 5 pick. So you're talking about 2 top 5 picks in the first, and then a top 5 pick in the second. So he's going to get paid.
Right.
Jaylon should get paid. If he doesn't pay, if Poles doesn't pay Jaylon, I'm gonna have a problem. And I'm not picking on him for history. I know when he first walked in the door, it was time to let people go. But now it's time to start building on greatness. And I'm a firm believer, if you're great at something, if you're the best in Cairo Santos, one of the best kickers in the NFL, I would arguably say the best kicker in the NFL at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Then you got Jaylon Johnson, one of the best, if not right now, statistically, the best cornerback in the NFL. You got these guys coming in at the top of their game. You got to keep the best if you're ever going to get good. You can't keep letting the best. I mean, imagine if the Bulls traded Michael Jordan and then Scottie Pippen. You got to keep the best, right? You had the best player in the NBA, and you had the best defender in the NBA. And if you start letting go of the best, you're going to get bad fast. Hello, Vikings.
Right, you're right.
Right. So when you look at these numbers, you're like, hey, we are stinking it up in certain areas. We're giving up a ton of yards. We've given up in 20 games. Defensively, we've given up 2,100 yards. I'm sorry, in 8 games, we've given up 2,100 yards. We are, yeah. I'm sorry, that's passing. I was looking for total. That's just passing, 2,100 yards. Rushing, we've been doing great. Rushing, we're fantastic. We're in 8 games. We are yards wise. We've only given up 630. The Eagles have given up less on the ground, but they give up more per run. The Lions have given up less on the ground, but they give up more per run. No, we're giving up 3.3 per run. That's the whole year average, even when we weren't good. And nobody, the Patriots are giving up 3.4. So they're the closest to us. But we're number 1. But passing, you saw it. You saw the game.
Yeah, I did.
You saw the game. I was so happy when they would try to run. I'd be like, yay, they're still running. And then he'd throw the ball. And I'm like, oh, man, come on, run it a couple more times. We need the ball back.
Run it on 4th down so we can have it.
Right. Don't throw it on. Don't throw it on 4th down because you're going to get it. Run it on 4th down. But we can stop you. So, you look at that and you're just like, right? Wow. That's all you can say. I hope I answered your question.
You did. You answered it. And I agree with you. I was just thinking, like, in my opinion, you gotta because Claypool, as an example, wasn't a good fit for the team. Not just his poor play on the field, but in the locker room. And I just feel like when you bring in guys, it's very critical to bring in guys that are respected by the team. I guess that's ultimately the sentiment I was going for. Guys that are respected by the team, that they feel, that they value as being additions to your team. Because it's okay if that's your position and you're a little offended when Jaylon Johnson, the best corner in the league that we have on our team, improves because of this guy being there, or like exactly what you alluded to. And I feel like those players recognize that amongst their peers. You get what I'm saying? They're like, oh, if I have this guy on my team, it will allow me X, Y, and Z. And I feel like unless you're constructing a team in that manner, you're maybe not constructing a great team. You know, you might have great players, but you're probably not constructing a great team if the team doesn't see the value in the players you're bringing in and how that's going to help us translate those to victories.
Right.
So.
And I think, you know, part of no matter what happened with Claypool is, you know, when he got here last year.
You know what happened to Claypool?
You know, I mean, you know, but I'm just saying when he got here last year, he did not make an impact. He did not. As a matter of fact, it was at the beginning of our losing streak. Shortly thereafter, Mooney got injured, and he had the opportunity to own the #1 job.
Right.
And you know, I just. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine what happened that he didn't own that #1 job. You know, that was it. And it wasn't like there was a lot of competition for it. It was like, this is yours. You are Mooney's down. You're the best receiver on this team. Go get open and get the ball.
Right.
You know.
And I mean, to me, that's when you talk about sportsmanship and having the right attitude, because your team can be in a place where they're struggling and it affects everyone. You know what I mean? Like what we were just talking about. If my O-line is not performing, or the O-line is subpar, me being a receiver, that's going to affect me. You get what I'm saying? Greatly, to be honest. So it's just one of those things where I feel like, you know, sometimes your numbers may be down, or you may feel like, you know, I'm not getting the targets that I feel like I should get, or any of those things. And I just feel like that's when you look at sportsmanship and you talk about the bad attitudes and things like that. It should be an expectation that you're going to show up and do your job. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like if things aren't going well, that's what separates great players from good players, in my opinion. Because if you're going to have a bad attitude, or you're not going to show up to do your job because your team is struggling, or you may have guys that aren't adequate in certain areas to help you get to the playing level that you feel like you should be at or you should be on. And it is what it is. But that's where being a professional comes in. And he just wasn't that. So that's really what I was getting at as far as constructing a team.
And you can't, you know, I like Pole's response when he was asked about, you know, why spend another second-round pick. And, you know, and without saying it, he basically said, all right, you can't get gun shy because you make a mistake.
Right.
You know, and I accept that. He can't get gun shy. He has to make trades. He has to try to make this a better team. And honestly, this may sound crazy. I still feel like we're not that far off. Right?
I agree.
I think we're not that far off now. Just because we're not that far off, because we're close, does not mean we're going to make the right decisions. You know, you have to make you got to start with the offensive playbook and offensive play calling. If that doesn't get corrected, we're not going to win. Right? The second thing you have to start is you got to address defensive coverage. If that doesn't improve, we're not going to win. We're not going to win. So I don't know what else to say.
Hey, I agree with you. You're absolutely right on that. And like you said, you can't get gun shy. So I'm not upset with the moves. I think this was a good move. I've liked most of the moves Poles has been making. We just got to keep chipping away. We're still a very young team. So, you know, I'm with you. I don't think we're far off. I just want to see us get it all together, and I want to see everybody maintain the right attitude, so that as we build, we do have the right guys in place, so that we don't so we're not good for overnight or just for one season and so forth. I think right now we're constructing a team with some good young talent, and I think this can last if we continue to build in this way. But you're right, we got to make the right decisions. But I think Poles in that regard, I can commend it that if you're not gun shy, you can't be afraid to fail. You have to still go out there and give your effort. And that's kind of how I feel about the team in general right now. You know, we're growing, we're trying to get somewhere, and I think that those guys just have to go out there knowing that I'm here for a reason, and I'm here to you know, make a name for myself, for my team, and that's it. They can't be gun shy. Poles can't be gun shy. They got to go out there and make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, hey, at least you know you went out there and did what you could do. You gave it your best effort, and it is what it is.
And I also think it's a measuring stick for Eberflus, because if Flus defense can't come together by adding a star like Sweat, you done added. Let's look at the stars you done added. You done added not Claypool. You done added Tremaine Edmonds. You done added T.J. Edwards. You now added Montez Sweat. You added Yannick Ngakoue. You know, you got a couple rookies that look halfway decent, but Gordon is definitely was a good addition. Brisker, hands down, best addition you probably added off the you added some strong rookie D tackles. I like our rookie D tackles. Billings, fantastic tackle. I mean, I think Billings is single-handedly the guy most responsible for us being the best run defense in the NFL. Billings is tearing through people. And just keep doing it. You know, you got a big 300-plus pound bowling ball rolling right through the front of the offensive line. It's hard to run the rock.
Right.
Because he's coming through. He's not being stopped by one or two men. He's coming through. And then you got the young guys sprinting around, flying around. You know, it makes it tough to run the rock. If it's tough to run the rock, the rest of the team needs to be able to sit back and take the ball away.
Right.
That should be a formula for takeaways. Well, I can't run, so as the corners and safeties, no, the pass is coming, baby. They can't do anything else because the backers and the linemen, they got the run stuff. The ball's coming.
Right. Yep.
Get ready.
Right.
Because here it comes. You know, this is not a surprise. You know, Christmas comes on the 25th every year. And when you're the best run stopping team in the league, they're going to throw the ball.
Right.
You know,
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Man.
That's it. And I mean, like you said, recently Jaylon Johnson got 2 picks and, you know, first and second of the season. And hopefully there's more to come of that with this addition.
And you know what else? I hope that I want them to. I want Jaylon to get the contract he needs. Right? He's the best corner in the NFL. He needs to get paid as such. Montez Sweat needs to get paid to keep him here. You know, and honestly, you know, if you take a couple weeks to see who's better, him or Yannick, I think it's going to be Montez, but because Montez is bigger and stronger, you know, but Yannick is playing good. Yannick's out there a lot, and his weakness was supposed to be his run defense, and we're the best run defense in the league. I just need Yannick to get more sacks.
Right.
So, let's go. Let's mount it up and let's go. Mooney, Mooney's got. I know when Mooney sees that film and realize he didn't get up and run as hard as he could for the end zone, that his heart's gonna be broken. But you know, Mooney needs to get some more passes like that. They need to do it again this week. Yeah. You know, maybe you don't do it on the first play of the game, but you do it on the second. The first play of the game, get a ball to Foreman and let him run over the defense. Right. Then on the second play of the game, fake it to Foreman and let it fly to Mooney.
Yep.
You know, let's get him because I want Mooney to have a 65, 70-yard touchdown. That will change how people cover Mooney.
All right.
Let him watch because everybody in the league knows that was a touchdown last week, except for Vegas's refs. This week, do it for real and actually get the 6 points.
Right.
Then you start to demand that. So now if you have to dedicate a safety over the top of Mooney, that frees up DJ Moore. So we have to keep doing it. Right. Agent's got to unload the cannon to Mooney.
Right.
Well, I'm Uncle.
And I'm Nephew.
And we're talking Bears. There we go. All right, man.
We got to get Get the Saints.
Get them. Take them out.